9.6 is solving rational equations. We've solved some rational equations before. If you think about the times we've had stuff like this, we would find the lowest common denominator of 30, so we'd multiply this by 6 over 6, and this by 5 over 5, and this by 3 over 3, and we would get 18 plus 10x equals 9, and we could just drop the denominators. We would technically have this over here, but we don't need those denominators because we multiply both sides by 30, the denominators go away. So we really have this, which we would then solve and get whatever we get. You get the idea. We do the same thing here. The problems are a little bit different, but we need to find the lowest common denominator. For the problem on the left, the lowest common denominator is 18x plus 3. Which means that this needs an x plus 3. This needs a 3x plus 3. And this needs an 18. We ended up with 72 plus 15 times x plus 3 equals 23 times x plus 3. And I technically have these denominators of 18x plus 3, but since I have the same denominator in an equation, I'm free to just drop the denominators. It's basically like I'm doing this. I'm multiplying both sides by 18x plus 3. That causes these denominators to cancel, so I'm really left with 72 plus 15 times x plus 3 equals 23 times x plus 3. So I'll simplify that and come up here and get real messy real quick. I have 17 plus 50, 72 plus 15x plus 45 equals 23x plus 69. So I subtract a 15x from both sides, subtract a 69 from both sides. I get 72 plus 49 plus 45 is 117. 117 minus 69 is 48. So it's 48 equals 8x. So x equals 6. If I wanted to plug that in and check it, I could. 4 9s plus 5 6 would be 23/18. Now technically that's the long way for me to do this problem. I showed you the long way because it's going to matter more when these problems get more complicated. This is a fairly simple version. If you wanted to think about another way of handling this, I'll do this problem over here. I could just add 3/4 to both sides. So when I add 3/4, I have 2 over x minus 5. Over here I need a common denominator of 20, so I would make 19/10 really it's 38/20 plus 15/20 because 3/4 is 15/20. So now I have 53 over 20. Then this is a proportion, it's just two fractions that are equal to each other, so I get cross multiply. 40 equals 53x minus 265. Then I would solve from there, add the 265 to both sides, divide both sides by 53. All the problems I'm going to show you can kind of be done in this manner, but most of the time that's not easier, it's actually much more complicated. It's easier to get a common denominator and drop the denominator. I need to pause real quick and realign my board. So this problem has a lot more stuff going on. I need to factor everything and then see what the lowest common denominator is. The numerator doesn't need to factor, there's no need to factor that, but the denominator can actually factor into x plus 3, x plus 5 over here. So now I know that my LCD, my lowest common denominator, is x plus 3, x plus 5. Meaning that this needs an x plus 5 on top and bottom. This one's okay the way it is. This one needs an x plus 3 on top and bottom. Now I can basically just drop my denominators. I don't need them anymore. So I have 2x squared plus 6x minus x squared plus x minus 10 equals 3x plus 15. Remember to distribute this negative to everything. So that's why it's minus x squared plus x minus 10. Now I'll simplify. So 2x squared minus x squared is x squared. 6x plus x is 7x. Minus this 3x would give me a 4x. And then negative 10 minus 15 is negative 25. So I simplified everything and put it all on one side. Didn't really show my work, but you should be able to handle that. This can't factor. There aren't two things that multiply to negative 25 and add to 4. So I'm going to do the quadratic formula. You can also complete the square, which we're tempted to do, because completing the square would go really quick on this problem. But I'll just do the quadratic formula. You can also do it with your calculator. So it's negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Which would be negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 plus 100 over 2, which is negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 116 over 2, and I'll do that in my calculator now. If you give me that as an answer, that's probably okay, although 116 can probably simplify. I can probably reduce that radical. So I'll do in parentheses negative 4 plus the square root of 116, double close parenthesis, and divide that by 2. There's one of my solutions. Press second enter, scroll up and change this plus to a minus. There's my other solution. X is about equal to 3.39 or negative 7.39. You can always check these, plug them in, see if they work, see if you get a true equation, one's equal to the other, that's fine. This is the last one we'll do. It's going to have an extraneous solution, which you always have to be careful of. This shouldn't be too terribly tough to solve. I again just factor x plus 4, x minus 3. This is just like the last one, where I still have a 28 over here, but this up here now needs an x minus 3. And this over here now needs an x plus 4. So I end up with x squared minus 3x minus 28 equals x plus 4, and I'm just going to drop the denominators. I don't really need them. So I subtract an x from both sides, and I get x squared minus 4x. I subtract a 4 from both sides equals negative 32. And this can factor, so I'll factor at x minus 8x plus 4. So my solutions are x equals 8 and x equals negative 4. But I know that negative 4 can't work. I can't plug a negative 4 in for x. If I plug a negative 4 in for x, I get a 0. And I'm not allowed to divide by 0. So this one's no good. And my solution is just x equals 8. The x equals negative 4 was an extraneous solution, which apparently spells like that. So get a common denominator, cancel your denominators, and solve. Thanks.